This is The Focus Group
Negotiation. This is what you do in business.
with Tim Bennett
Pucker up, Buttercup.
and John Nash.
We never give up.
It's the savvy side of 9 to 5. Who knew business talk could be so much fun?
Hey, welcome to The Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, John Nash. We're all business, except when we're not. John, is that another nice new shirt?
This is one of my new shirts. I'll shout out for them, even though they don't sponsor the show, but they should. Charles Tyrwhitt. It's a British shirt
Is that a fancy
company.
place?
Well, they always do these things like 3 for $99, and I always wait to get the catalog.
Is that a 3 for $99?
This is one of the 3 for, no, it's a normal price shirt, but you could go in and get it 3 for $99.
So, hey, if you're watching live here on Facebook, thanks for joining us. Also, if you're on our YouTube channel, thanks for joining us as well. The show's available at any time, anywhere, anyhow, through a number of different platforms. We'd ask you to subscribe, like, and rate us. You can catch us on YouTube, iTunes, which has now been rebranded Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, there's a new logo for that.
You think they'd make a bigger flurry of it?
It seems like a simple shift, but that word pod. Anyway.
Yeah. SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, which is a new platform for us, Stitcher, and through Apple TV on the Reverie app. And all of our social media is branded Focus Group Radio. Be sure to call us if you'd like to join in on the show live. 877-962-6846 is our studio number. We have to pay attention. Last week we had calls we didn't take.
Well, go
got
to the
in
booth
trouble.
cam. We got John on the right, who's handling video. We have Garrett, our audio engineer. If you call the show, you're going to get Garrett, and Garrett's great call screener.
So Garrett's our call
Garrett's
screener?
our call guy.
Well, there you go. And so John and I, today on the show, we have a good friend of the show rejoining us for her third visit. She's got a new book coming out, Kelly McDonald, and she's an expert on marketing and advertising consumer trends. She's also a top speaker. Business speaker, and in the spirit of full transparency, we used to work with her in another life.
I would also like to add that she is really the embodiment of that multiple career thing that you and I love to talk about.
Second act, third act.
Second and third acts, and being successful at each and every one of them because of who she is and the energy she brings to what she does. So it's fun to always have Kelly around.
Yeah.
Tim and I always, like, whenever Kelly's on the show, after she leaves, we're like, we're going to write a book like Kelly wrote a book. And then we try.
Well, she said to me, she goes, "What are you going to talk about today?" And I said, well, we'll talk about your latest book, and we'll talk. We'll be fine. We won't have a problem talking. So that's after we do
Kelly should ghostwrite our book.
Well, that's an idea. She's busy. She's too busy for that. But after we do our Caught My Eye and our other beginning of show business, we'll have Kelly join us, and then later on the show we
have a caller.
Tim's list. We got a caller
Apparently
already.
My shirt's doing crazy things.
happened?
Hey, Don, welcome.
Hi. I just thought to tell you that shirt is giving me some flashbacks to some drug trips here.
Really?
I guess when I move, I see it now.
Yeah.
It's got a very fine little pattern in it. And Don, wait a minute. You're like a flashback from how long ago were those drug trips?
Well, let's just say I watched the moon landing live.
How's my shirt, Don?
Your shirt is beautiful. It's crisp. It's clean. It's a solid color.
It's Brooks Brothers.
All right,
That's right. There you go. Model it. Sure.
So Don, I'll survive the broadcast with this. Hopefully, not driving too many people crazy. But I guess it's too tight of a pattern.
Take it off.
I'm not going to take it
You have
off.
something else to
There
wear?
you go.
Thanks, Don. Do you have
Don.
something else to wear?
I do for our next show, but it's for our next show.
Oh, maybe we'll find a tank top or something. There's
I
a
noticed
wardrobe
that-
closet here. Wardrobe closet.
There is a wardrobe closet, yeah.
Perhaps you can have something.
I was going to tell you that the crew here at the studio, they're going to be on vacation because we'll be doing a pre-record for next week. And do you know where they're all going?
Oh, they're going together?
Well, they're going separately, but they're all going to be in a certain town together.
Vegas, baby?
Vegas.
If I don't ever go to Las Vegas again, it'll be too soon.
See, guys,
Not they used to be a sponsor of the show many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
Do you have any desire to get back there?
I will always say yes to Vegas because I get to go to the Hoover Dam. I get to. I did not jump off the top of that stratosphere yet, and I'm dying to do that jump off the straight. Remember the day I was going to do it? There were high winds, shut the ride down. I was all set to do
The
it.
last two times first we did the pool parties at Luxor, which were fun, but they were 120 degrees.
In the shade.
Yeah. And our last show we did there, we had Carrot Top, and he and I both had our toenails did. Remember,
right,
I had
yeah.
gold on my toenails. And it was a fun trip, but, I
You don't gamble.
No, and it was crowded. But I guess
Oh,
they
it's
love
very-
that. They love the fact that
Crowds
it's
are
crowded.
good.
But it was
Crowds
it was a little too crowded for me. I wanted a quieter, more Palm Springs type of vacation is what I would have liked, which you did as well.
Yep.
So, hey, what caught your eye this week?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
I've got two pieces
Oh,
because they're both kind of brief. The first one is only now being generally reported, by the way, because I found this about a week ago in a small paper, and now it's popping up in the Washington Post and a few other things. But basically, the headline is this: Man died peacefully after falsely told Trump was impeached.
what? I didn't see this.
An Oregon man died peacefully earlier this month after falsely being told President Donald Trump had been impeached. Michael Garland Elliott died April 6 after his ex-wife and best friend, Teresa Elliott, informed him that Donald Trump has been impeached. And here's how the
Was he all morphined up or something?
he was in. They didn't actually say where he was, if it was hospice care or not, but I just think he was old. And it says Mike ran out of family long ago and is survived by his ex-wife and best friend Teresa. Though their marriage ran aground, their friendship only grew stronger, and hers was the last voice Mike heard. And the last thing she said to him was, "Donald Trump has been impeached." Upon hearing that, he took his final gentle breath. His earthly work concluded.
All is well.
To be clear, Trump has not been impeached, but it's safe to assume that Elliott, who was born in Charlottesville, Virginia around 1940, was not a fan of the president. So if he was born in 40, 60, 77, almost 80, around 40, so it could have been 39. But yeah, so yeah.
Well, yeah. So she must have reported that then, and it went viral, right?
That's in his obituary. She wrote.
Oh, she wrote.
That was all in the obituary, and that somebody caught the
even
obit
funnier.
and read about the Trump thing.
He
All right, so
died when he heard that Trump
had been impeached. So it's a fair bet to say he was not a fan of the president. And then this other one was just something that I think, Tim, it's problems the rich people have, I suppose. And it goes like this: IRS drains Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott's bank accounts. Apparently, being the daughter of a multimillionaire media tycoon isn't enough to save you from financial dire straits. In July of 2016, it was reported that the couple, who had their fifth child in March, were slammed with a federal tax lien of $707,000 in unpaid federal taxes for their 2014 bill alone. Okay, so for them to get a lien, you know how long it takes for them to basically...
Isn't her father like one of the not
He's
that he gave
passed
her the
away.
money, but one of the wealthiest people in Hollywood, right? Aaron Spelling.
Aaron Spelling was huge. Meanwhile, Page 6 reported that McDermott, on the right, her husband, his ex-wife Mary Jo Eustace, is threatening him with jail over unpaid child support for their 18-year-old son Jack. During a court hearing over the child support in March, McDermott told the judge that he had fallen on hard times. He avoided jail time by giving his ex-wife $2,500. And their struggles don't stop here. Here's one for you.
Do you think did it say, was she left money by her father?
She doesn't say that, but she does talk about her relationship with money. So they're also being sued by American Express for two unpaid bills. One of them is $87,595, and the other is $37,981. You're talking about people's salaries that are on their Amex cards, right? She wrote in her recent book called Spelling It Like It Is in 2013, "It's no mystery why I have money problems. I grew up rich beyond anyone's dream. Even when I try to embrace a simpler lifestyle, I can't seem to let go of my expensive tastes."
So she didn't pay attention. But I would think that somebody like her, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe her father didn't leave her money or it's in a trust, but you would think that she would have an accountant or a manager or a CPA that would manage her money. I mean, her father was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Whenever you would see pictures of the Spelling mansion, it was this sprawling,
Right, like
huge
30,000
thing,
square feet. So it would be, so her owing 87,000 would be like you and I owing $80.
I don't know, and by the
Right? I mean-
by the time the for the IRS to put a lien on your property, it's had to have gone through multiple requests. Someone had to physically visit them to say you have to pay. So there's all the steps they do before they just lien and they put a lien on the bank account. But $707,000 in unpaid taxes.
I don't know much about her. Is she doing anything now?
She was hoping to get into another reality show called. She had been on one before.
I'm so broke, and so is my husband.
She hoped to parlay her latest pregnancy into another reality series that would frame her as a Martha Stewart-like domestic goddess who doesn't pay her bills.
By the way, what's Martha doing?
I don't know. I haven't heard from her in a bit.
Quiet, hasn't she? Last thing I saw, she was cooking with Snoop
Very
Dogg.
quiet, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. Mine is vastly different. My what caught your eye, and this one, every time for whatever reason, every time something comes up with the royal family, I think of Bob. Your
Bob loves
husband.
Bob loves the royals, and I honestly, I kind of do too.
I do too.
There's something just very calming about let's check in with the Buckingham Palace crowd.
Well, I noticed on the train up, I was poking around and reading my notes, and then another article came out about the Queen. So this just came out about 4 days ago. And then another article came out about the Queen. And I was wondering if either the PR machine is ratcheting it up for summer, come to England, come see the changing of the guard, or whatever. But there seems to be an awful lot of chatter about the first family, about the royal family. There was a story about Prince Harry and him going for therapy about his dad. And now this story, which the headline was, the one thing the Queen eats every single day.
I think I know this.
So this is Queen Elizabeth, and there is one particular food that she insists on having every day, and it travels with her, and it has to travel with her.
And it's made at the palace.
It's made at Buckingham Palace. So the royal chef Darren McGrady, he said he offered this revealing fact about the Queen. He said he worked for the royal family for 15 years. And he said she had a preferred snack, which is a chocolate biscuit cake, that she consumes one slice of the cake made at Buckingham Palace.
That's right.
Every single day. And so I've never heard of chocolate biscuit cake, but
it looks
fantastic, doesn't it?
The Queen has superb taste in desserts.
So what it is,
I would eat it.
So they take these rich tea cookies. They're called rich, R-I-C-H, rich tea cookies, and they break them up about the size of almonds, they said, and they mix it in with this almost fudge batter. Now, that's a different, so people were speculating. Nobody's gotten the recipe. There's other people that have tried to replicate it, but nobody actually has the Buckingham Palace recipe. They won't divulge it. They won't share it because they're afraid people would sell it. Right.
It's her thing.
So they say if she's traveling, the Queen transports a supply with her, noting that she would have the senior chef accompany the dessert in a tin on his lap. And so they said, can you imagine being on the train, turning to a stranger, and they're asked, so what are you doing? He goes, I'm bringing a snack to the Queen.
I'm the tin keeper.
The tin keeper. So they said the chocolate biscuit cake is the only cake that will go back again and again and again every day until it's gone. Because they said the Queen's a completist. So so they make the cake just for her. She has a slice, it goes back. She has a slice the next day, it goes back. And they said she wants a slice every day until it's gone. She wants to finish the whole cake, and even the tiniest sliver needs to be sent up because then she feels that's gone and she's completed.
A completist. A completist. Am I a completist?
Yes.
In my vibrating shirt.
She'll take a small slice every day until eventually it's gone. It's also now become a favorite of Prince William and Prince Harry. It was, they said that it was Prince William's it was his wedding cake.
The groomsman's cake.
Groomsman's cake, because he would often have tea with his grandmother, and he got a taste for it, so he started liking it. So they said, as I said, it's a lovely crunchy texture thanks to the addition of classic English cookies called rich tea biscuits. A layer of decadent chocolate frosting tops it off for the perfect finish. I'm not a chocolate fan, but I love a slice.
I think that, I love hearing stuff like this.
So they did say that she's not a foodie, that she just eats to live, unlike Prince Philip, her husband, who loves to eat and says he'll talk about food all day long. He loves barbecue.
So for her, food is a necessity of the day. Right?
Well, very disciplined. So then I'm reading a little further, and there was another article, because, when we find these articles, attached articles, they bait me in. Is it clickbait?
Clickbait, yeah.
Talked about
Hell for the clickbait.
Talked about her typical menu. So they say when she dines on her own, she's very disciplined. This is like you again. No starch is the rule. No starch.
It's a car, yeah.
So they said exactly what does she eat. So he said this is her typical menu in a day. So she starts breakfast with a cup of Earl tea on bone china, no milk or sugar.
Okay.
So there's a cup of tea. And she'll have 3 cookies, 3 biscuits. Reminds me of when I worked with the Japanese, and they had 3 fish balls. That was it. 3 fish balls and some miso tea, or green tea. And then she will move on. Sometimes she'll transition to some fruit and cereal, and she likes Special K. Special K is her cereal of choice.
Kellogg's Special K?
Special K. They said sometimes if it's a little cold, she'll change things up and do toast and marmalade, or scrambled eggs with salmon with some grating of truffle on the top.
Okay, nice. I could do the egg thing.
She prefers brown eggs. She thinks they taste better.
I agree. And
I
we
do
talked
too.
about that too. We talked
People
about
say
that.
they taste the same, but I like brown
I
eggs
think brown
myself.
eggs taste better.
Before lunch, I love this, and I've tried doing this myself. So before lunch, she has a gin and Dubonnet. Now, Dubonnet is a D-U-B-O-N-N-E-T. It's a French wine aperitif.
It's sweet.
It's horrible.
Is it too sweet?
I don't know what it is. So
Too sweet, or-
that's not the way she prepares it, though. And I was reading this whole story about how she prepares it.
Where you find these pictures?
No one else is
Scrabble
allowed.
letters.
No one else is allowed to drink it. So if you're in her company, she's the only one allowed to drink it. So she does a slice of lemon on the bottom, a round slice on the bottom,
And then
3
the-
cubes on top, the Dubonnet and the gin.
So it must be the way it's added that makes it.
I've tried it several times. I bought a bottle of the Dubonnet. Each glass was worse than the next. I mean,
Okay.
I cannot seem to replicate it. Now, maybe Bob can. That should be a summer thing for us to see if we can replicate the gin and Dubonnet.
Gin and Dubonnet.
I ended up throwing the bottle away because I just could not. I think it's an acquired taste.
Okay.
And then, so the last thing is for lunch, she'll sometimes also have a salad with chicken, or she will do a Dover sole with wilted spinach.
Fish, yeah.
And she said, again, no potatoes, rice, or pasta, or anything starchy when she eats alone. That's what the queen eats.
Wow, she sounds like a gal after my heart. Except I think she's a little off on the rice and potatoes aren't bad for you, brown rice especially. It's just the quantity. It's kind of like when we were in Italy on one of the trips we did when you had me, and we marveled at the fact that like when you ordered something with pasta, the pasta portion was about what would fit in your hand.
Right.
As opposed to here, it's all pasta with something else.
That's like in Japan when we talked about sushi. You'll go out with friends and order 30 pieces of sushi. In Japan, you'd be with
that's-
6 friends and you'd get 6 pieces and everyone has 1 piece at the end of
That
the
was
meal.
almost like a dessert thing, right?
Well, it was just like almost like you would have a taste at the end. Some people eat salad at the end of the meal. That you'd have a piece of the nigiri sushi. You wouldn't have 8 pieces, or you
Or
would have
like
15 pieces
yeah.
of sushi. So the other story that I read on the way up was that everybody wonders what she has in her handbag. Why is she bringing a purse around?
What is in her handbag?
Nothing. So the whole point of the purse is code to the staff. She's got the bag, and they were showing it. They had a video doing it, and they said she's holding the bag, and she's irritated, or she wants bag goes in the other hand. That means get me out of here. So she's always holding the bag in the right hand. If she moves it to the other hand, get me out of here.
So Tim, from now on, see this pen? It's in my right hand.
Right.
If the pen goes here, we're going to break. No,
If she puts the bag down, it's get me out of here right away. If it goes under the table, you're in trouble because that means you need to get me out of here. And they said if she's with somebody on a receiving line and she twirls her ring, and it was funny, they're showing all this video of her doing these various
body
things.
language, and they pick up.
So it
on
was all code. So the handbag is all about code. Save me, get me out of here, let's leave, time to go,
I would hope that maybe there's a pack of Kleenex in there.
and a mint.
She's got a Ricola drop. Maybe.
So that's the queen. So business birthday.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
Don't you have some Norwegian in you, John? Or did you do? You didn't do your ancestry yet.
My niece did, and she did the test that looks at the maternal side.
Okay.
So yeah, we're based on what Catherine told me. It's Germany, England. It's like what we thought we were. We probably
We
are.
need to
but
do it.
Yeah, I need to do it.
So celebrating, he was born on April 19th, 1877. He died at 57 years old in 1934. Ole Evinrude.
I always think of Evinrude as a boat. Oh yeah, there we go.
Exactly right. So he developed the 2-stroke engine. His family emigrated here from Oppland, Norway. They actually took the name Evinrude, which was the name of a farm near where he grew up. His real last name was Aslandi. I can't even pronounce it. It's a long kind of, I guess, Norwegian name.
Which is why they took Evinrude.
Evinrude Farm. So he came to the U.S. He started tinkering around as a
That was the
machinist.
first smart business decision he made, or this
Exactly.
family made. Like, I like that Evinrude name. Let's go with that one.
So funny, he worked at a various number of machine and tool firms and opened up in 1900 his own custom engine firm called Clemick and Evinrude. And he invented the first practical and reliable outboard motor, which was built out of steel and brass, and it had a crank and a flywheel, 2-stroke engine, so oil and gas. And
A chainsaw would be the same thing.
right. And funny enough, he had a couple of teenagers so he decided to make this engine because he was out rowing a boat with his girlfriend to get ice cream, and they had trouble. And so he thought, instead of rowing, why not put a motor on this thing? So he comes up, and this
Funny how these ideas come about, huh?
So this was in Ripley Lake near Cambridge, Wisconsin. So he had two little teenagers that came that were diddling around. One guy's name was Arthur Davidson, who went on to be the founder of Harley Davidson motorcycle.
The minute you said Davidson, I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
So this kid Arthur Davidson was around, and he helped him, let him play around and tinker with motors and engines, and then ends up developing the motorcycle company Harley Davidson. His wife had died. His wife was getting ill, so he sold the initial company in 1913 in order to look after his sick wife, and then he started another company, which fast forward 70 years, his son was chairman of the board. And Evinrude still makes motors, and they're owned now by Bombardier Recreational Products out of Canada.
Canada, I was going to say Canada, because Bombardier makes many of our subway cars
and snowmobiles and those sort of things.
Heavy equipment.
But it's so funny when you see some of these
I like the history of that
immigrants,
one.
and they come here and they work and they
go on a boat. They take a rowboat with a friend, and I don't want to.
right would go get ice cream. I love the little ad there. So there she is in the back of the Evinrude boat.
She could run the Evinrude.
Right, and then there's one with a guy they used, and I thought it was interesting considering this was probably the 40s or 50s that they definitely did targeted advertising.
Yeah.
That's one was about let's go fishing, the other one was about let's have
Leisure.
the joy of the boat.
So
right.
let's have a picnic on the island, and I'll
Exactly.
manhandle the Evinrude.
So before we bring our guest on, we want to remind everybody of our newest sponsor here, which is Deep Discount. And if you go to focusgroupradio.com and click on the Deep Discount icon, there it is. There, the
Shark.
Or that's piratey.
Well, pirates and sharks.
Pirates and sharks. But they'll soon become your new obsession, because we've been spending an awful lot of time on Deep Discount looking at all kinds of new movies, old movies, collectibles, vinyl. I'm into vinyl. I've got a friend that's into vinyl now, and getting a bunch of different sort of collections of either CDs, books, collectibles, so forth.
It's a pretty deep website, because I find myself going down the rabbit hole very easily. It's a Deep Discount. There you go.
We watch what we want to watch when we want to watch it, right?
Yeah.
So, but they've got a couple of new things coming out. So what's going on there this week?
Well, they're promoting Five Came Back. It's a remarkable book about Hollywood's most important directors who went off to World War II. And came back and talks about the movies they made. Namely, it's John Ford, George Stevens, John Huston, William Wyler, and Frank Capra. So this is a book, and interestingly, Netflix just has posted us a documentary based on Five Came Back, and it's kind of fascinating because the journey they took, and World War II really did forge so many things, right? And certainly forge these directors' visions. But if you're going to go visit Deep Discount and do it through Focus Group Radio, you'll see a logo down there. If you're poking around for other World War II type pictures or content, there's a ton of it. And I actually just picked two things at random. One of them, not random, but one of them, Frank Capra is best known for It's a Wonderful Life. Now, he's done a whole bunch of movies, but this is a movie that, oh my God, right? Like, I almost think it's shown too much.
I can't watch it.
I've been watching a lot more for...
Have you?
I have. In my animation work, it's looked at very carefully as cinematically in terms of how he set up shots, the camera, how
even more so than Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane is right up there too as a really good teaching tool for really groundbreaking and rule-making cinema. So I just pulled one of my favorite Frank Capra films. And then on the right is one of my all-time favorite movies. It takes place during World War II, and it's about General George Patton.
I would have not picked that for you, but okay, good.
And I love George C. Scott won the Oscar for this for his portrayal of Patton. He did not accept the Oscar, actually. He in protest. I forget what was going on at the time politically, but he did not accept the Oscar physically on stage. But Carl Malden's in the movie as well, and I love Patton.
Wow.
Jerry Goldsmith did the soundtrack, which is fantastic. How I know that is because I own the darn thing.
That's the way you are.
You can probably get the soundtrack at Deep Discount as well. And then another movie that we want to see, and you want to also recommend again, the last week's movie.
Right, Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
I saw Hidden Figures, which is one of the new releases you can get at Deep Discount. Either I think it's Blu-ray or
combo pack or
right,
DVD.
Combo pack. I think it is must watch. I think every school should show it.
I was
Every public
shocked when you
school.
called me and told me this.
One of the best movies I've seen in a long time. There's a social thread, there's a moral thread, there's a gender thread. And my big takeaway, it made me cry. It made me smile. It made me cry and smile. But what I thought about it more importantly was the importance of one person doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And whether that one person was a boss or that one person was a friend or that one person was a mentor, there was one person that always did the right thing to move, whether it was a space program or move these women's lives forward. What these three women went through is unbelievable, and how we're not taught that is also unbelievable. So I think it's a must-watch movie, and I'd watch it again and again. So Hidden Figures, yeah.
And that's what we had said last week. You were going to buy it because
I did. I bought it, and I watched it. And I watched it with a neighbor, and who's Brian, who is also
Brian's pretty critical about movies. Too.
I caught him crying. He'll deny it, but I
don't think he'll cry on this one, though. We would like you to go to Deep Discount and check out The Founder, which is about the creation or the founding of McDonald's. And this got a lot of buzz around Oscar time. And in fact, I believe it was nominated. I should have double-checked this. And it's Michael Keaton who plays the role of the guy that kind of brings all of this together for McDonald's. I like movies like this. The minute I thought, oh, The Founder, I was going to look for other films like this. And I said one to you on the phone that you and I both remember, Jeff Bridges, Tucker. Man and His Vision or something, and he created the Tucker automobile, which technically was way ahead of its time in Detroit, but that's a business movie too. So we want you to check out The Founder. So deepdiscount.com, go to focusgroupradio.com, and their logo's there. Click right through to their site, and that helps us out, and that also lets them know that you're there because of the focus group. So hey, friends, thank you, Deep Discount. And wait, we don't want to, Garrett.
You're walking over that.
Walking over the line again.
Thanks, Deep Discount.
Is there a union scale?
Watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it. Watch what you want to watch.
We're going to take a quick
watch
break, and we're going to show you a little video about what was this one?
This is the Canyon, Fantasy Canyon.
I love this. This is Utah.
Got to get our guests set up.
Yeah. So this is a little 2-minute piece of beautiful imagery from Fantasy Canyon, Utah, while we get our guest Kelly McDonald set up. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
The geology of Utah is so complex. It's a landscape that's chiseled away. Even something that seems really small, once you get into it, becomes an infinite playground to places you can explore. My name is Renan Ozturk. I'm a climber, an artist, and a National Geographic photographer. So I got the opportunity to go on assignment for Volkswagen with the new Golf whole track. And the idea was to get into some of these crazy, otherworldly, strange lands in Utah and see how I could capture something different, come back with something special. Fantasy Canyon can be described as a world of all sorts of grotesque formations of mud. The whole thing could probably fit in someone's backyard, but there's so much intricate detail that it's infinite in its own way. On any given story, you'll probably shoot 25,000 to 50,000 images. You're constantly searching and hunting for the moment. You have to move seamlessly through the landscape, but at the same time have the gear that you need to take it to the next level with technology. I had a plan to fly the drone and then shoot the sunset right after that. Shooting Fantasy Canyon is a good opportunity to use a lot of funky lenses, old lenses, distorted lenses. One of those lenses happened to find its way onto my camera. All the shapes are so out of this world that no matter what you do with the lenses, you don't feel like you're distorting reality. You're already in a distorted reality.
Now, back to the focus group with Tim and John.
Glamour today is nothing but a tight skirt, loose hips, and wet lips.
An entertaining look at the world of business.
Make it work. Make it work. Make it work.
Hey, welcome back to the focus group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host John Nash.
And by the way, Bob's therapist thinks we have great chemistry.
Do we have great chemistry?
Bob came home from having a head shrinking.
Uh-oh.
Is that what you call it? I
I don't think Bob wants you to tell people that.
Oh, he doesn't care.
Okay. So we'll talk about Bob's therapy later. But joining us, as promised, we've got Kelly McDonald, who is the principal of McDonald Marketing. And I'm going to read the bio because I've known, I am.
Yeah, I know.
Here's
the bio's important,
because
Kelly.
John and I have known Kelly for so long, and we're very impressed.
Well, thank you.
And this is going to lead to another little prank we're going to pull on you. But Kelly McDonald is considered one of the nation's top experts in marketing and consumer trends, aside from Tim and John. And
the way he read that first sentence, almost like he
sounded sarcastic.
No, it sounds like a bunch of kids in your library. Kelly McDonald.
Kelly McDonald.
Knowing Tim, though, it's sarcastic.
No, we love Kelly. She was named, and I've actually been in the audience a couple of times. I've had the pleasure. She's named one of the 10 most booked speakers in the USA, and was also one of the 26 hot speakers, which by Successful Meetings magazine. She's an author of 2 best-selling books. One of them is How to Market to People Not Like You, which is a favorite here in the focus group. The other one was Crafting the Customer Experience for People Not Like You. And she has a new one coming out in August, which is How to Work with and Lead People Not Like You. So
she's on brand.
She's got her own
on brand with the not like
right,
people
the not
not
like
like
you.
All 3 of them. There they are.
And she lives in Denver, and she likes chocolate and high heels.
I do.
She does, and she's also been featured on CNBC, Forbes, Bloomberg, CNN,
The
Fast
Focus
Company,
Group.
The Focus Group. And so
Now it's the big time.
now that you put this together, right? So
big
we want. So what brings you to New York? Because you're in Denver, right?
I live in Denver,
what
but
brings you to
yes,
New York?
what brings me to New York? It's funny that you should ask, Tim. I was here for a meeting with my awesome client, Selective Insurance, and
Look at that! How quick that
look at
popped
the
up.
logo. Yeah, there it is. And I've been doing some work with them. They're an absolutely awesome company that is completely all about marketing and servicing diverse customers of all different kinds. Emma and Bob are my clients, and I work with them, and they're just fantastic.
Sponsors everything, and a good color blue, John.
Yeah. It's focus group
we got
blue, really.
the memo. We got the memo for today. It was selective blue.
Selective.
So you were able to join us, which is great.
Yeah, I was there for a meeting, and it literally just worked out great. I would have been flying home, so I'm just taking a later flight, and here I am.
Perfect. And you know what else I did? Which I brought you chocolate. I stopped at the Walgreens or the Dwayne Reed, and I got you a Russell Stover box.
Are you a Russell Stover fan? Out in,
I don't know if
out in
she is, but
Denver,
who
don't
isn't?
Don't
Give me
have,
that.
Don't you have fantastic custom candies and stuff out in Colorado?
Whatever, man. I'll take chocolate. I mean, this is
So
what
when
Tim
Kelly,
knows.
so when
I'm a
Kelly and
alcoholic
I,
myself.
that's why I got
Thank
that.
you.
So when Kelly and I used to work together, and we would travel and visit regional offices, she always knew where to. There was some place I'd never knew in 15 years next to Subaru that made homemade or
Oh, it was amazing.
chocolates, and she'd be like, "We got to stop.
We gotta stop there."
I've driven by it a million times. I didn't know it was a chocolate place.
Right down near corporate.
You could walk to it, John. That's how close.
from
it was.
Thank you,
the
John.
the main building.
Exactly.
And she
you could
knew they
walk.
knew her in there.
Baird's.
Baird's chocolate.
Baird's.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And remember when we drove 100 miles to get a milkshake?
Yeah.
We went to Vermont
milk-
or something?
that's
I don't know.
Delaware.
Delaware,
was it
whatever.
worth the milk?
Okay,
Was it- that's a
Delaware,
good
Vermont. It makes a
Good
better
milkshake.
story
Good
if you say
milkshake.
Vermont. Seriously, he goes, the best milk. We're at his offices in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We're in a Subaru meeting, and I'm like, oh my God, milkshakes. We start talking or whatever. And he goes, let's go. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I got the best milkshake place. We get in
People
the
get
car
mad
and
at
we
us.
drive like 3 hours to go.
35 minutes.
Whatever.
or take.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, Tim.
Thank you. Now, Kelly entered my sphere when, and it's an interesting thing because agencies can be very territorial.
Yes.
And Kelly worked for Subaru's main agency, and we had been working with Subaru on the niche market for the LGBT consumer. And I will never forget when we first. One of the times I first met you, you said, "Oh my God, I love your work." And the main shop was always deferential and polite, and they were always supportive.
But a little dismissive.
But a little bit like, "Oh, you're the tiny guys."
You're the tiny guys.
She goes, "I have one of your ads blown up," and it was one of the best ads. It was different drivers, different roads, one car. It showed the 3 back ends of 3 different Subarus with stickers.
You were my hero.
And you had this huge poster blown up and put in your office, which is unusual for the main shop to do, to have the small shop work in there. But it was very, it's like, wow.
You were my hero.
Well, unusual for other reasons as well. I mean, I would say that the agent.
Straight?
No, but the agency was out of Dallas and probably conservative. I
Oh
would
yeah,
say.
very much so.
And the leadership at Subaru was also conservative.
Yep.
So the fact that, John, you're right, the fact that
was hanging up.
it was accepted was a great thing.
You know, whatever. I just
So
put it out.
John mentioned earlier before you came on about second and third acts and so forth. So you had a very robust career. Why
In
don't
the
you
ad
let-
agency
Yeah.
world.
So why don't you
Well,
tell
first
us a
you
little
worked
bit
for a
about-
big agency.
Yes, several of them. Tell you about one. Okay, so
You were also you were a CMO at a company as well.
yeah. I just
talk about
no,
it.
it's okay. Just I don't know. So 25 years of ad agency experience working for global ad agencies like Temerlin and like Chiat Day and Young and Rubicam, and that's a really awesome business. It's just a really high burnout business. There's a joke in the business that says you get into the ad agency business in your 20s and you get out in your 40s because you're just done. You're tired.
Even though you're 24.
Exactly. It's like dog years.
I'm going to pause the conversation there for a minute because that does fascinate me. I think it's true of creatives, and I think it's certainly true of account people that are
Client service. It's demanding.
very demanding. Do you think, though, that you would ever not that you're going to, you have an incredibly successful, wonderful career with your books and your speaking engagements and your consulting. If someone said to you, we would love you to work for our agency again.
Can I answer that?
Well, no, I'm curious because, like, do I say to myself, I personally have solved the puzzle a couple of times. I've done the campaigns, we've done the meetings, and I would not be learning anything new, but maybe I would.
Did you want to answer?
I would say you'd say no.
I would say
Because
no.
I think you were kind of the place I was in a different way. You were tired of the bullshit.
That, and tell me if this was your experience, the higher you go in advertising, and I'd gone pretty high, the less it's actually about advertising and the more it's about management, right? You're just sitting in
I'm a
meetings.
guidance counselor.
You're a guidance counselor. You're doing personnel stuff or whatever. And honestly, John, I think that I actually can see a client's business better I can sit with a client and I can see things a little bit more clearly sometimes than either the client can because they're so close to it or whatever. I would be happy to consult with clients and stuff, but I don't think I would ever go back to actually working at an ad agency again. I could do the same work for somebody on an ad hoc basis as a consultant or whatever, but I don't really see a reason to take a position at an ad agency. Not that anybody's like knocking on the door.
This part, that answer fascinates me, and I think it relates directly to what you're doing now. You're closer to your client.
And I take the business I want.
And you take the business you want, and it's
I only
the
work
craft.
with people I like.
And the craft of it is...
No, it's true.
And the craft of it is the consulting, the meeting.
The speaking
engagements. And so, like, I'm the same way. When I owned my last agency, or the one that I met you through, there was a point where we had 20, 30 people on staff for a small shop that's big. And my days were completely consumed with, I have to do this, I have to do that.
Administration, management, personnel, everything but advertising.
Job.
Yeah,
The job.
Really. And it's still a gratifying business or whatever, but I'm getting more out of it now. I'm still involved. I'm just not making ads. I'm
And then you had an experience as well that I think is remarkable, especially for the Latino community. And that's when you had your own shop and you with a good amount of prescience, you said, this is a consumer that corporations should be paying attention to, and you began an ad agency.
Yeah, I did.
Which specialized in
Hispanic marketing.
McDonald.
By a white woman.
Well, Jim used to say, "What is a Scot? Was it Scottish?
What does a blonde-haired,
what does
blue-eyed
McDonald know
Irish
about
girl?
Rodriguez?
No, but okay, and we're just speaking openly here. The reason it worked because my clients looked like me. I was the same age and the same race as most clients, and so.
Interesting.
And please don't take this the wrong way, listeners. You have to just hear this as, and I've had a lot of Hispanic clients tell me, oh, thank God you say this. But if a Hispanic person or a person of color goes into a corporate marketing meeting with a lot of Fortune 500 companies or something like that, and they go, oh, you got to do diversity marketing. It looks like they're waving a flag. It looks like they have an agenda that it's like, but if I go in and I go, you have got to do Hispanic marketing or African American marketing or Asian marketing or whatever it is, LGBTQ marketing, whatever. I don't have an agenda. I'm not of that tribe, if you will, or whatever. And clients will be like, oh, maybe this is just a business thing, And so I think that's what actually made it successful is that I was like my clients. And then it morphed into all kinds of other things too. And so,
Which is funny because internally that was and John and I have had this conversation many times. My view at Subaru was for the same issue, doing LGBT marketing. You're not waving. If all of a sudden it's like, I'm the gay guy, so you've got to do this, it becomes an agenda versus a business decision.
Right. Then obviously you're pushing whatever it is your special interest is, Tim, or whatever you want to do or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it just simply became me serving it up on a platter as this is a business opportunity. Here's the metrics. Here's the numbers, whatever. And it's like, I don't have an agenda. You can do this or not do this.
And that's the key. What you both said, I concur with. It was always to be positioned as this is a smart, intelligent, whatever the consumer's profile, and they need to know about your product or your service. And I agree with that notion of also not wanting to be a flag waver or have an agenda to but your agenda was moving that company's product or service in front of a respectful consumer.
For sure. And it's kind of a shame. It's a shame that someone who, let's say, is a person of color or gay or Hispanic or whatever, or woman or whatever, can't get the respect that they just deserve saying the same thing. But I literally would do keynotes, let's say on Hispanic marketing or something like that at a conference, and there would be a Hispanic marketing director in the audience or whatever, and they'd come up and they'd say, thank you so much for saying that. I've been saying that for 5 years to my boss, but he or she doesn't listen to me. Right. And it's like, it's just kind of sad.
So that all led, though, to your first book.
Yes.
Which is how to market to people not like you. And I would say that it was something that we loved from the get-go.
Thank you.
Easy, very digestible. And what I mean by that is it's written so that you can just absorb these lessons and insights very quickly. But that led you to the speaking the speaking gig.
Well, no, the speaking came first, but irrelevant, I was speaking, and then, because I was actually speaking on that topic. That was actually a PowerPoint presentation that I had called How to Market to People Not Like You.
Okay.
Yeah, and the quick backstory on that is I was doing the Hispanic thing, doing all these speaking engagements on that, and I had a client come up to me one time, and she said afterwards, she goes, Kelly, that was great. We would love to book you again in the future, but we can't have the same topic. And we value the Hispanic market, but we also value the Black market, the Asian market, the women's market, the gay market. Do you have something broader than Hispanic? So I was like, sure, because when you're self-employed, the answer to every question is yes.
Yes,
so I said, sure.
True.
And so I wrote the presentation on how to do all this, and I was like, what am I going to call this? Because I can't call it How to Market to Blacks, Asians, Whites. Right. Yeah. So I was trying to come up with a pithy, snappy little name, and I came up with How to Market to People Not Like You. It just worked. Yeah. And it's so great because it really encompasses so much more than just racial and ethnic and stuff like that. I mean, if you're a pet owner and I'm not a pet owner, we're going to be different.
That was the brilliance of the title. It's broad. It's a catch-all. And
lets you complete
if
the
you
circle.
live in Manhattan and I live on a farm in West Texas,
like you.
Yeah.
So what's your latest book?
My latest book. Thank you for asking. It's not even published yet. It's the one in the purple. It's the purple one, and it's called How to Work with and Lead People Not Like You. And I'm excited about this one because my first two were about business externally, right? How do you market to people not like you? How do you get more customers? And then the next one, the green one, how do you serve those customers in the best possible way who are not like you? So they're external. And then I started thinking, well, there's a lot of pressure on companies these days to have diverse employees and diverse staff. What's it like for that employee to be working with someone in the next cube that they don't understand, they don't like, they don't get, and they're different, and yet, we're supposed to be like kumbaya working together or whatever. Or what if you're a leader, a manager, and you're working with people in India, and you're working with people in Latin America, and you're working with people in North America, or you're working with, I'm making this up, marketers and engineers. I mean, like left brain, right brain, whatever it might be. How do you pull together a team? And so when I called Wiley, my publisher, and I pitched him this idea, I was sitting in the Milwaukee airport, killing time for a flight. I pitched them. I got 30 seconds into I've got an idea for my book, and they said yes.
Wow.
One of the reasons they said yes is they're going to save money on the cover design.
It's spoken like a true creative.
So I'm an art director, so I'm like, oh my God.
You have to admit it's a good look, though, right?
Oh, no.
The brand.
It's
you
funny.
come out of AdWords. Branding-wise, it is consistent. Those on a shelf in a row look great.
Yep.
What I thought was interesting about this latest book is I had a talk with my brother over Easter, and he's a tradesperson. He's a carpenter, and so he works with plumbers and electricians and a tradesperson. So some people would look at them differently than maybe
Right,
someone
blue
who goes to
collar
college.
versus white collar. Yeah.
And he's in charge of a group, and one of the employees on the maintenance staff is now trans,
Oh yeah.
and there's no training for him. As
Oh
to
no,
how
no,
to
there's no
handle
book
this.
on that or.
So the person came to him and said, as of Monday, I'm now going to be referred to
Right.
as
Jane.
Laura or whatever, and went through this whole thing. And I watched my brother struggle with it because he's not being disrespectful, but he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know, how do I address this person now? What pronouns
pronoun
am
do I
using?
use? He,
and
she,
and he's
yeah.
afraid to say anything because
He's
we've gotten
legitimately questioning.
but
smartly.
we've gotten so politically correct, if
Correct.
that's the right word, where all of a sudden, if you say the wrong thing, oh, you're racist, you're
Oh, yeah.
you're white privilege, you're this, you're that, and he's like, well, wait a minute,
Racist, sexist, xenophobic,
Homophobic,
homophobic, you name
transphobic,
it.
yeah.
Something ist. Yeah.
So this sort of thing, I thought would be even perfect for. Because there's trans people everywhere, and I'm just using that as an example because I thought for my brother, that's not something he would have been exposed to, and I'm sure they're not training that.
You know what's interesting is
training.
I actually have that. I want to say it's like chapter 8 or whatever. I might get that wrong. No, literally, I have a story that starts out a chapter as a law firm, a Southern law firm, so conservative industry in a conservative part of the country that had one of their top executives, their chief learning officer, transition from a man to a woman. And how did this company who espoused diversity handle it when the push came to shove in terms of talking to 600 associates at this law firm and handling it right, not only from a legal standpoint, they're a law firm, they don't want to get sued, right? But also just doing the right respectful thing. It's a great case study in there of literally like the memo that they sent out to the employees saying, you know, Joe Schmo or whatever is going through a life transition or whatever, and is working out, you know, gender transition, and will from this moment on will be referred to as Jane. We support her. I mean, like the next sentence was the gender switch or whatever. It was just beautiful.
So
but
you
anyway,
would say that that case study that you're referring
positive.
to was a positive.
Oh my
result.
gosh, it was textbook. Perfect. And in fact, I have the entire memo from the CEO in the
Reproduced.
book because it was handled so perfectly. Now, obviously, they had legal advice, but they also really said in this memo, we respect this person's issue, or not issue, that's not the right word.
Well, their
situation,
decision and their life change.
And we know that you have questions. Right? 600 employees. Right. We know that many of you will have questions. So tomorrow we're doing a training with Jane's gender therapist. They brought in her gender therapist to answer questions, as well as an employment attorney to advise people. Well, so they don't want to step on a landmine and blow their foot off legally, right? I mean, like this is, you know. So to your point or whatever, some of this really is tricky, and I would like to just address the whole racist, sexist, xenophobic, or whatever. I completely agree with you, and part of what I talk about in the book is even if you feel these things, it doesn't mean that you are those things. What it really means is that you're uncomfortable, and what it really means is that you're struggling. You're struggling to understand someone you don't understand. You're struggling to work with someone who has a different approach or whatever. It doesn't mean you're racist, sexist, but our society and our work environment especially has made it so you can't say the wrong thing. That if you even express like, I'm uncomfortable with this, or I'm uncomfortable with you, you're not okay. You're not on the diversity
As opposed to
bandwagon.
just being able to express.
I don't understand this. I'm uncomfortable with this. So what I do in the book is kind of walk people through how to do that without getting into trouble, without putting your job at risk, with simply trying to understand and work with the people
So
who
is
are
it
not
head-on
like you.
communication?
Yes, but and this is going to sound overly simplistic, but it's at the core of it. It's respect, and it's understanding that here's my true north. My true north is I don't have to like you. You don't have to come over for dinner. We don't have to be friends on the weekend. I don't have to go to your backyard barbecue, but I do have to work with you. So at the end of the day, kind of try to set aside all the noise on this other stuff and just go, what are we trying to do? And what's the basis of good working? Communication, respect, cooperation, trust. Those are the things. And that's what I try to do in this book, is teach people how to get to those things. I don't care if you're a hunter. I don't care if you're a vegetarian. I don't care if you're gay or straight. I don't care if you're a Bible thumper. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care if you, whatever. People are all different, and we have feelings about those, and our feelings are real, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to socialize with you. I'm trying to work with you. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. Now, I'm going to take a more banal example and wonder if your book deals with it as well. And that's just the different mindsets of people at work by the nature of what they do. So if we go back to agency land, you have creatives and you had agency people. You had account executives.
Yep.
And it almost would be like a small a company that has the people that make the product, the people that sell the product.
Correct.
And they are often not seeing eye to eye.
Oh no, they're right brain, left brain. I mean, they're very different.
Your creatives are thinking and solving problems one way, and management and sales and marketing are like, look at those creatives. Don't they get the business
Don't
model?
they waste time?
So does the new book talk about that kind of that thought culture and how people can work better together, or how to understand the creative and creative understand business?
It doesn't. I don't go into that specific niche or whatever, but I absolutely do talk about ways that we can be different. Like, not to tell another story, but I love stories. One of my clients that I did some speaking for last year was the Department of Defense. And this is a real true story. So the Department of Defense is filled with people who are complete brainiacs. I mean, like, figure the smartest person you know and then multiply that times 100. I mean, these people are cracking codes, for crying out loud. They're doing everything they can.
They lost the whole armada of ships this weekend.
So I'm there at the Department of Defense, which is a weird experience anyway. And my client is telling me that she's working with people that are so smart that many of them are very, very high functioning autistic. Okay? They get so into what they're doing, right? Cracking codes or whatever, that literally she has to tell them sometimes, you need to go home, you need to take a shower, and you need to change your shirt and get some sleep. And I was laughing when she first told me that. I was like, that's got to be pretty...
To have that, to realize you have to say that to someone.
Well, and
because they're so engaged.
Because they're stinky. No, literally. So I'm like kind of laughing a little uncomfortably, like, wow, that must be really awkward to like tell your coworker that you stink. And she goes, Kelly, I have to. She said, I care about them, and they get so into their work that they stop taking care of themselves. And that's how she thought about it. Not you stink, but you haven't gone home in 2 days. You're still wearing the same shirt that you were wearing Monday. You haven't slept in 2 days. And I thought that's the respect thing at the core of it. She cares about them. She's not mocking them. She's not going, "Oh, you stink." She's not going, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?" She's going, "Look at you. I know you've been so into this, but
We
John,
appreciate it, but you're right.
John, you've been here for 2 days. You need to go home and get some sleep and take a shower and put a new shirt on.
That's a fascinating problem for a manager to have when you think about it. They're not doing a bad job.
No, the opposite.
They're doing a bad job of not taking care of themselves.
Correct. But at the core of it was not, again, her mocking or going, oh my God, can you believe that guy hasn't showered in 2 days? It wasn't that, which is what most of us would do, avoid that person and like think that they're weird or whatever. And she was really concerned about them. She cared. And that's what I mean, like the mutual respect. And they felt that when she would go to them and say, you got to go home. It's time for you to go home and take a shower, change your shirt, come back when you've got
Oh, I must stink.
Well, and
Kelly told me to go home.
No, after they come out of the code-breaking fugue, and they come out of the shower, they're like, well, wait, I've been 2 days.
But where I'm getting on this is, I mean, that is kind of a left brain, right brain thing. Most of us remember to go home.
You got a pair? Now,
Well, in honor, it's just we got to go do.
Kelly's going to stay with us, though, for the list.
But in honor of your new book, you have purple stuff.
I got a purple book.
Oh, and it matches the book cover.
Matches the book cover. So
Okay.
why don't you take us to?
All right, so Kelly's going to stay with us, but we're going to get ready to play Tim's list, and we're just going to do a quick little billboard break since we're all set up here on set. So Tim, why don't you tell us what the list is, and we'll go to break. And the number here is 877-962-6846. I'm going to get my iPad out so I can check what
taking
I'm doing on
calls?
social. We are.
We hope to take calls. Yeah.
Call us.
So the list this week, John. Since we just had some of us celebrated Easter and there was lots of flowers around, and then Mother's Day is coming and there's lots of flowers. So I thought I wonder who grows or produces the most flowers in the world. So of course there's a list, and so what we're looking for today are the countries that produce the most cut flowers. So the operative word is cut flowers. That means fresh cut flowers. Not I've got bulbs, I've got trees, I've got something in the dirt. These are the top 10 cut flower exporters in the world. These countries export most of the flowers that are cut.
All right,
So if you get
stay
a
with
bouquet.
us. We're going to do a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to take your calls, 877-962-6846. We'll be right back. Tim's List, next.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. success on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Been in business a week. I got more money than I know what to do with.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
Herrera Rocher. He is doing well.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host John Nash. We're all business except when we're not. Continuing with us here to play Tim's List is Kelly McDonald, who has a latest book that she's here plugging. And what's the name of the book?
How to Work With and Lead People Not Like You.
Not like you. And you can order it. It's available at Amazon or Barnes & Noble for release in August. And do you have a website people can...
I do. It's www.mcdonaldmarketing.com, and it's McDonald marketing.com.
Great. And so what we're doing now is if you want to give us a call, we're doing Tim's List, and we're looking for the top 10 cut flour exporters in the world. And Kelly picked number 8. So if you guess number 8 or number 1, you get a pair of our famous Focus Group radio socks, which Kelly can show you.
Kelly got them.
Kelly got them.
I got 2.
We'll let some calls come in, but online. Oh.
So it's 877-962-6846.
I just tell you
what happened.
Paul in Mass.
What did he say?
Online, he popped up with one.
What?
I just laughed because
What?
I thought maybe it is, maybe it is. He said Costa Rica.
Ooh, it's a good guess.
Not far off, no.
Really good guess.
Why do you think that's funny?
Well,
Why is
because
it
I would
funny?
never have thought of Costa Rica for cut flowers. I don't know why, but
It's
I would
warm.
never. I guess
things
that makes
grow.
sense, right?
That's
Ruth's another listener of ours says Ruth loves your books and she loves Tim.
Thanks, Ruth.
And
Who can not love Tim?
let's see what else. Oh, and a lot of people commented on Hidden Figures as yes. It's a great watch.
Completely agree.
So why don't you
So we got a whole bunch of
why don't you
people
grab
calling
some
in.
calls,
Let's go
John? Take it
to
from the top.
from the top down. Let's go to Irwin in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, the city of angels. Irwin, welcome back to the show. What do you have for Tim's List today?
I'm going to guess the good old U.S. of A.
Okay. Is the U.S.
I would have guessed the USA as well, and I would have been wrong. Not on the top 10.
Oh.
Now, I will give a caveat for other people that are holding. So the United States, China, and India do grow the most flowers, but these are exporters of cut flowers.
Cut flowers.
So yeah,
It's a niche.
Okay.
it's a niche.
Irwin, thank you so much. Enjoy your hopefully fine weather out on the West
Angeles.
Coast, Los Angeles. And thank you for being a fan of the show. Let's go to Billy in New York. I wonder if Billy is down yet for the auto show. Hey, Billy, how are you?
Actually, I'm home with a head cold.
Oh, you
bummer.
poor thing. I hate head
A
colds.
friend of mine just got back from there. How about Malaysia?
And you cheated?
Was he
My
Googling?
friend just got back from Malaysia.
Malaysia, as the British would say, Malaysia comes in number 7, and they're primarily known for temperate flowers such as orchids and lowland flowers. Number 7, Malaysia.
Okay, but so we're looking for, hey, thank you, Billy, and please feel better. You know the whole rule.
I would have never picked Malaysia.
Fluids and the whole bit. Billy lives in upstate New York, and one time he sent me a very funny note about how it was like the transitional winter-spring thing, and he went out snowmobiling, and I think he called it the snow was white mud. You know how the
Oh, yeah,
snow
totally
gets, 'cause
slushy and
know, you've
gross,
been in-
yeah.
Slushy.
He's a fan, huh?
So Paul still guessed Costa Rica, and he said he's waiting for his Christmas socks. I thought,
Well, they went out already.
we'll have to just double check on that.
Have them send us where do you send the notes?
Oh, I'll take
letters
it,
at
yeah. Letters at
focusgroupradio.com.
Let's go to Don in Alabama. Don, welcome back. I hope my shirt has not caused you to have a seizure or any problems.
No, I put on some 3D glasses.
Don is down in Rocket City. He's down in Alabama. He's like scientist,
where's
museum
Rocket
designer. What do you got for Tim today?
I know most of our flowers come from South America, so I'm going with Ecuador.
Ecuador is a great guess. 9% of all the cut flowers come from Ecuador of the global marketplace. Roses are by far the leader, but they also sell a bunch of other ones I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to. And
We should make you, though. That's the thing.
well, okay, it's Gypsophila, Limonomium, and Liatris.
That was a mistake.
Liatris,
Okay.
whatever.
Sounds like drugs.
Anyway, they're
Circles.
the biggest exporter to the United States, Italy, Canada, Germany, and Russia. Ecuador, number 3.
All right, we're looking for 1 or 8, right?
All right, we don't have a winner yet.
Thank you, Don. Have a good one. Let's go to Jay in Ohio. Jay, welcome to the show. Thanks for all your notes. I love everything you send, all your links. How you doing?
Oh, hey, you guys, a great interview, too, by the way. That was really
thank
good.
you.
Thanks, Jay.
I went to the Tournament of Roses parade, and the boxes came from Ecuador and Colombia.
Oh, now isn't that clever?
Well,
they were
he has to
sending
pick.
flowers, and so I'm going to say Colombia.
Colombia is a great guess. Colombia produces 15% of all the cut flowers in the world. They're known for roses. 65% of their crop goes to les États-Unis, or the United States. They also have orchids and birds of paradise. Number 2, Colombia.
This is an educational
Tim just
show.
sounded like we were on Match Game or
Exactly.
something. Number 2.
Survey says.
Ding, the board spins. Hey, Jay, thanks for playing today. Enjoy your day. Safe driving if you're on the road as well.
Thanks, Jay.
Hey, great job, you guys.
Thank
See you,
you.
Jay.
Hey, we're going to go to Canada now. And
Justin Trudeau?
Well, it could be. It could
Not
be.
picking-
But we're going to Tim's, one of our favorite countries, our neighbor to the north, Tim's. You call it your...
The brave North, strong and free.
Strong and free. We're going to go to Justin in Canada. Hey, Justin, welcome to the show today. What do you have for Tim's list?
Hey, guys. My guess was Netherlands.
Now, see, I would think Netherlands would be the biggest exporter of bulbs.
Otherwise known as,
At
what
least to
else is the
Canada.
Netherlands known as? What else does it get called?
I don't know.
Holland.
Oh, Holland. Yeah, sure.
Netherlands.
Look at how he looks at you.
I mean, you're looking like it was some, like it was
You
some
idiot.
sort of Jeopardy question. So Justin,
Like it was.
good guess, Justin. The Netherlands, unbelievably, 52% of all the cut flowers in the world come from the
serious?
Netherlands.
I
And,
thought bulbs. I thought when you said...
Tulips.
Yeah.
Well, they produce over 8 billion flowers a year, and they have the largest market share, but some of these little countries are catching up to them, but they still have the bulk of the business. And they said because of global transport, when you cut a flower, it only has a day or two
Freshness.
So
Right.
if you can imagine doing cut
Airship.
flowers and getting them to
and
places like the U.S. So
Nicely
number 1,
done. Hey,
Netherlands.
Justin, drop us a line at letters@focusgroupradio.com and just say that you won today for Netherlands, and
Oh,
we're going to get
Justin.
you on the list for a pair of these socks.
And of course, we've got to fill out all kinds of Homeland Security
Great
now
show today, guys.
forms to get a pair of socks
I'm
to
planning
Can I
Canada.
on
get a
sharing
choice
it with
of
our
colors?
marketing director at the
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I'm planning on sharing today's episode. It's great. I'm planning on sharing it with our marketing director at one of the theaters I work with. He'll get a kick out of today's episode.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Hey,
We're always looking for sponsors,
Hey,
Justin.
Justin, what city are you in?
Ottawa.
You're in Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Is that? I've not been to Ottawa. I've been to a lot of cities in
Love
Canada.
Canada.
I love Canada,
Who
man.
doesn't like the
I don't know.
maple
There
leaf,
may be a
right?
few people who don't, and they're not our friends, right?
These are cool people.
We have time for
Let's
one
go
more
to a
call.
state we haven't gone to in quite a while. Let's go to the beautiful state of Arizona and welcome Randy to the show. Randy, what do you have for Tim's list today?
I have Kenya.
Kenya is such an interesting guess. When I saw that come on the board, so what do you think?
I love Kenya. I got to go there in Africa.
You got to safari
And
there.
Flowers everywhere. The
seriously?
leader, Kenya, is the biggest exporter of cut flowers in Africa. Number 4, Kenya. They employ over 500,000 employees plus 90,000 different direct flower shippers for Kenya. So it's become a huge industry in the country of Kenya. 7% of the global market of flowers come out of Kenya.
Hey, Randy, where in Arizona are you?
Cave Creek. I got to give a shout out to Kelly and the focus group.
Well,
I'm going to borrow
thanks.
your socks.
You like the socks? Thanks.
I'm going to borrow your socks when I see you.
Well, if you send John a note at letters@focusgroupradio.com, we'll get you a pair.
We'll get you a
Randy.
pair of socks. And Randy, how far? Where are you in relation to like Tucson or some of the other big cities?
Tucson's about a little over 2 hours south of us. Cave Creek is just slightly northeast of Phoenix Airport.
Got it.
It's almost
So
like a
just north
suburb of Phoenix, isn't it? A northern suburb, Randy?
Yeah, it's just north of Scottsdale.
I think Arizona is beautiful. My niece graduated last year from Embry-Riddle up in Prescott Valley.
Okay.
And then I
Beautiful.
I went down to Tucson and I had to create a little bike trip for myself. I climbed Mount Lemmon, did a lot of riding, and noticed that Tucson, every corner of that town has a tire store, a hearing aid store, and a mattress store. I don't know why.
Right, right.
I had a good burger.
All right, now we're going
Scottsdale
I
across-
like See's
In-N-Out?
Candy. They're everywhere in
the Grease
Arizona.
Flats, the
Yeah.
Grease Flats,
See's
in
Candies,
Scottsdale.
yeah.
See's Candy.
I like the Grease Flats. So thanks,
Thanks,
Randy.
Randy. Thanks.
So in
See
the
you, Kelly.
interest of time, anyone else guess online, John?
No, except Paul got Costa Rica.
Costa Rica not on the list.
But it was a good guess.
It was a good guess. He got everything around it.
And where was Kenya on the list?
Kenya was number 4. I'm going to count down now.
Okay.
So thanks
All right.
everybody for
And
playing.
as Tim always says, in the interest of time.
Thank you, Kelly, for staying with us. So these are the top 10 cut flour exporters in the world. And this is it's over a $21 billion industry. Number 10, Israel. Israel, and particularly, they're the largest exporter of flowers to Europe. 90% of the peonies come from Israel. Number 9, Germany, which I was surprised about.
Surprised by that. Yeah.
Germany's known for their bouquets. They're known for doing a mixed brand of flowers.
Just remembering SNL. Was it with Melissa McCarthy when someone said, "And the president met with that nice German boy"?
I thought that was Patsy from Absolutely Fabulous.
All right, number 8.
Number 8 is Italy.
No, that's Kelly's number.
Picked. Number 8 was Italy. They're known for roses and carnations.
Apparently that.
Number 7, Billy got Malaysia.
Tim always picks pictures for me, like
you got to keep him focused, got to keep him on the dime
or something.
Look at that,
and I pay attention. Yeah.
Number 6.
Hello.
It's like a cat with a mouse.
Number 6, the second largest exporter out of Africa. This one was a surprise to me. Ethiopia.
Oh, I am surprised by that too.
Really, Ethiopia?
You just don't ever hear anything
So it's
about
becoming
Ethiopian flowers.
over a $500 million industry in Ethiopia. Number 5, Belgium. Belgium's known for their roses in particular.
And see, he did another picture of something.
Belgique.
Hello.
They've got a flower. They've got a rose for you.
Oh, there's flowers in there? There's a flower in there?
I like that kitchen. I like the kitchen.
Tim's looking at the cabinetry.
Man candy, right?
Cabinetry. I'm looking at
cabinetry.
I like the
The rest of them our listeners got. Number 4, Kenya at 7%. Number 3, Ecuador at 9%. Number 2, Colombia at 15%. And the Netherlands, the granddaddy of all cut flour exporters, 52% of our flowers come out of the Netherlands. It's over a $4 billion industry. And that picture, if you're watching on YouTube, can you believe those are fields of flowers?
Yes.
No, I thought it was a flag.
And guys, just as a random,
wow, I see the people.
As a random comment, has anybody seen some of the pictures out of California after all the rain? They had all the desert wildflowers.
I was there last week.
How's it look?
It doesn't look like California.
It's amazing. It's like
It looks like Ireland.
Colorful and green. And yellows.
I've been traveling to
crazy.
California for 10 years.
And
I've
it's
never
brown-
seen it like
and I
this.
love the look
Brown
of the
and
desert,
drought.
but-
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So thanks, everyone, for playing Tim's List.
All right. Hey, Kelly, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Mwah.
Such a pleasure to have you.
Mwah.
We're so lucky to know you and to be your friend.
Lucky to be here. Thanks
Hey,
for
we
having
want to
me.
thank everybody who made time today to tune in to Facebook or YouTube. You could always find us on iTunes,
And the
SoundCloud,
call-ins.
Stitcher, Google Play, and the call-ins. And sorry if my shirt vibrated too much, but I love the pattern.
Now you know.
But now you know. Thank you, Don. Yeah, now you know. Big thank you to deepdiscount.com. To check them out, visit focusgroupradio.com. Click on the link and go through. And we were featuring 5 Who Came Back and the founder. But also
The $1 billion.
Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures, again.
Movie. And a big, big thank you to Volkswagen Group of America for sponsoring us for so many years. Great partner. Visit VW.com to check out all the latest models, including the new Atlas, which is a 7-seater. Is it a 7-seater? Big car. Tim
Biggest they
big
have?
car. I'm driving a wagon, and I have to get in my bike rack.
An all-track.
I got an all-track wagon, and I have to now finally put the bike rack on. I like the car without the rack, but the rack's going to...
I'm getting a rocket box.
Butch it up.
I don't know what I'm going to put in it.
All right, so, hey, thanks for your time today, and please tune in next week, and we'll see you soon here on the Focus Group.
Thanks.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on SiriusXM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.